Ray, given what we know at this point and what we just saw in Brian's piece, how do you think they took Nancy out? It looks like going out the back, you go into that rough terrain. There's no way you could carry an elderly woman through that.
I don't think that the back door was an exit. I think it was an entry.
You think that's how they got in?
I think that's how additional individuals may have been let into the home, where the one individual went in through the front. But it's, and I agree with the SWAT commander, that they had to leave from the front of the home because of the blood that was found on the steps and on the porch. There's not a doubt in my mind that she left from the front, but there were entries that people were going in from different parts of the home.
So this would prove to you, because there's been lots of speculation that a single person could not have pulled this off. Nancy was 84. She was not able to move very well. It would have been too much for one person to break into the home and carry her out.
That number has driven every headline, every theory, every sleepless night in this investigation for 70 days straight. Every outlet reported it the same way. Every analyst repeated it. Every framework built around Nancy Guthrie's disappearance rested on the same foundation. Her pacemaker stopped at 2:28 a.m. The trail ends at 2:28. Whatever happened to her happened before that moment. That foundation is wrong, not slightly wrong, not open to interpretation, completely forensically provably wrong. Here is what actually stopped at 2:28 a.m. The Bluetooth sync, the cloud connection, the app on her phone. The device inside Nancy Guthrie's chest never stopped. It kept logging. It kept time stamping. It kept a complete internal record of every cardiac event, every arrhythmia, every physiological change her body produced, long after the last data point reached the cloud. Morgan Wright said it plainly. The pacemaker is the most unbiased witness we have. It generates all the additional events and actions. Tonight, we go inside those 41 minutes. We will show you exactly what Nancy's heart recorded, phase by phase, timestamp by timestamp, and we will tell you for the first time who law enforcement now believes was in that house. If you are new here, subscribe right now. This case is still moving. When it breaks, you will not want to find out 2 weeks late. 2:28 a.m. was never the end of the trail. It was the end of the cloud sync. Her heart kept going. But before we go inside those 41 minutes, you need to understand what was actually running inside Nancy Guthrie's chest. Because what these devices record is not what most people think. The witness inside her chest. Most people think a pacemaker regulates a heartbeat. That is true, but it is the smallest part of what it does. A modern cardiac implantable electronic device is a data recorder built to medical-grade logging standards, designed specifically for retrospective clinical review. Every pacing pulse it delivers, time-stamped. Every arrhythmia it detects, time-stamped. Every moment the heart rate exceeds or drops below programmed thresholds, time-stamped. Every significant physiological event her body produced, stored in internal memory with a precision no external camera can match. This is Promise 1 delivered. Here is what Nancy's heart actually recorded, but there is something else inside that device. Something investigators did not expect to become this important. An accelerometer. That sensor measures physical movement. It adjusts the pacing rate based on activity levels. And in doing so, it records movement data. When a patient walks voluntarily, the accelerometer produces one signature. When a patient is carried or transported by someone else, it produces a completely different one. Nancy's pacemaker recorded both. Now, the cloud architecture. A home monitoring base unit sat plugged into the wall of Nancy's bedroom. It transmitted her cardiac data to the manufacturer's cloud platform in near real time. That cloud data does not disappear when the sync ends. It stays preserved, time-stamped, waiting. The FBI subpoenaed that cloud data within the first week. The manufacturer complied immediately. A team of forensic cardiac specialists, device engineers, and a manufacturer liaison have spent 70 days analyzing what that data contains. Their evidentiary standard was unambiguous. Nancy's heart cannot be cross-examined. It cannot be impeached. It cannot claim bias or confusion. What it recorded carries the weight of a witness who was present for everything and forgot nothing. And what it recorded across 3 distinct phases is the most detailed physiological account of a crime this investigation has ever produced. Phase 1 begins at 1:47 a.m., and the very first data point, the very first thing Nancy's heart recorded that night, is the hardest to read. 41 minutes, 3 phases, 1 body. The forensic team divided the 41-minute window into 3 phases. Each one tells a different part of what happened to Nancy Guthrie on the night of February 1st. Here is what Promise 2 looks like when the data speaks. Phase 1. The fear response. 1:47 a.m. In the same narrow window, the doorbell camera shows a masked figure disabling the device. Nancy's heart rate spikes, sharply, dramatically. The cardiac pattern is consistent with acute stress, consistent with fear, consistent with a person startled awake by an intruder standing in their home. She was awake. She was aware. The data is unambiguous. Phase 2. The movement. Approximately 2 to 2:10 a.m. Her elevated heart rate does not return to baseline. It stays high. Rhythm irregularities emerge. The pattern forensic cardiologists associate with sustained acute distress, not a brief startle, an ongoing, escalating threat. Then the accelerometer data shifts. The movement signature changes from voluntary to passive. Someone walking under their own power produces one pattern. Someone being carried produces another. Nancy was not walking. Someone was carrying her out of her own home. Phase 3. The sedation. 2:13 to 2:28 a.m. Heart rate variability begins to decrease. That natural beat-to-beat fluctuation a conscious heart maintains starts to disappear. Decreased heart rate variability in this clinical context means one thing: pharmacological sedation, drug-induced reduction of consciousness. She was not dead at 2:28. Her pacemaker was functioning, but she was no longer conscious. Here is why that finding changes everything. Summarized in 5 points investigators cannot ignore. 1. You do not accidentally carry sedatives. 2. You plan for them in advance. 3. You source them through controlled channels. 4. You bring them with specific intention. 5. That procurement left a trail the FBI knows how to follow. This was not opportunistic. This was premeditated, logistically prepared, and executed with pharmaceutical precision. Based on these 3 phases, what do you believe happened to Nancy after 2:28 a.m.? Drop your theory below. Investigators read everything sent to this channel. The pacemaker gave investigators a window. And through that window, after 70 days of forensic work, one name kept appearing. The name the data points to Thomas Oyon, age 50, Tucson, Arizona, married to Annie Guthrie, Nancy's daughter, Savannah Guthrie's brother-in-law. A law enforcement source has told us directly Thomas Oyon is the prime suspect in Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. Annie and Thomas were the last people to see Nancy alive. 9:45 p.m. The night before she vanished. Annie's car has since been towed, impounded, entered into evidence. The source was precise about the motive framework. Who has a reason to make an 84-year-old woman disappear? Not a stranger, not a random actor, someone for whom her absence is a benefit, financially, legally, or otherwise. If you have information about this case, about a controlled, sedating compound that moved through unusual channels before February 1st, call 1-800-CALL-FBI. Anonymous, no ID required. Over $1 million is waiting. Now, 4 investigative paths are active and converging. Path 1, the procurement trail. That sedating compound came from somewhere. Pharmaceutical monitoring systems do not fully erase. The FBI is on it. Path 2, the geographic radius. Accelerometer data places Nancy between 12 and 25 miles from the Catalina foothills at the moment the sync broke. The route south toward Rio Rico and the Mexican border falls directly inside that radius. Path 3, the Bluetooth sweep. FBI signal detection equipment is actively searching for Nancy's pacemaker's specific Bluetooth signature across that entire radius right now. Path 4, human intelligence. Someone knows something. 70 days of conscience is a long time to carry something this heavy alone. Now that you know what the pacemaker recorded and who law enforcement is looking at, what do you think happened that night? Tell us below. The science told investigators what happened inside those 41 minutes, but science cannot answer the one question that matters most right now. Her heart told them. Now someone has to listen. Nancy Guthrie is not a case file. She is an 84-year-old mother, a grandmother, a woman whose heart spent 41 minutes recording everything that was done to her, while her family slept, while her daughter prepared for the morning news, while the rest of the world had no idea. 2:28 a.m. was never the end of the trail. It was the end of the cloud sync. Her heart kept going, and what it recorded cannot be taken back, cannot be altered, and cannot be silenced. The data told investigators what happened. 4 paths are now closing in on who did it, but data cannot tell them where she is. Only a person with a conscience can do that. If you are watching from Tucson, from the Catalina foothills, from anywhere along the corridor south, and something from that night did not sit right with you, that feeling is evidence. Call 1-800-CALL-FBI. Say Nancy's name. Anonymous. No ID. Over $1 million waiting. Where in the world are you watching from tonight? Drop it below. Say a word for Nancy. Subscribe. Turn on notifications. Day 72 will bring new information. This case is still moving. Make sure you're here when it breaks.